proudest day, and the proudest time, and the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, the 2025 season. And Conor, a wee bit different this week. We're looking back, we're looking at the season so far for a couple of competitors, and then looking forward to some events coming up.
Yeah, a chance to catch up with a few of our regulars that we haven't spoken to in a while. And then, as you say, there's two fantastic events coming up with the Imokilly Stages and the Bushwhacker in September.
That's for sure, yeah. So we're going to catch up with Jon Armstrong and Hollie McRae and hear about their season so far, and obviously Goodwood there at the weekend as well too. And then also William Creighton as well too. Will, having a fantastic season in the BRC, and also his thoughts. He hasn't done Donegal as well as Jon too, so we'll hear wee bits and pieces about that. And then, as you say, Imokilly, the mini stages coming up now in a couple of weeks' time. We speak to Tony O'Driscoll, the COC, and then from the Bushwhacker 50 this year. And we're going to hear from Gary Milligan about some of the celebrations planned for that. So we don't really have a lot to say here, have we?
Not overly, so maybe we'll just go straight to Jon and Hollie.
Yeah, and we started off by asking Jon, you've had a good year so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been a good step up from last year in terms of pace from the get-go, especially on gravel. We've had very good pace compared to where we were. So, no, it's been good from that side, but probably more issues, more mistakes. I think, the first round I got caught out a bit, and then we've had a couple of punctures. Some my doing, some just naturally happen when it's rougher roads. And then podium in Poland was a good highlight. I've won my class the 3 previous times that I was there, and then to get a podium this year, it's a good streak. So it's definitely a place and a rally and a country that provides good results for me and good memories, because last year in Poland also was on the tarmac, but I got my first ERC podium there with Owen. So yeah, it's been a really good year, but yeah, there's elements where we could improve, and we know we've lost out on some big results, and we've had the pace to be in the top 5 probably on every rally apart from Rome. Rome just wasn't great from a rhythm and pace point of view, but you get that sometimes and you just have to learn from it and try to figure out where you can do better in the future. But overall good, and we've got 3 rallies now to finish off the season, Barham, Kerdigan and Croatia. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to those ones. They should suit me very well.
Yeah, because even like Rome, sorry Conor, even Rome, like as you say, probably a rally that didn't exactly click with you. On the second day, on the Sunday, it started to come, you seem to find the sweet spot then.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny rally because it's very hot and very technical, but the stages vary quite a lot in terms of the surface and width of the road and bumps and smooth. So it can be quite tricky to set the car up, and we've not done a lot of pre-event tests, so it shows that I can sort of jump into the car and drive well without too much testing. I think it works sometimes better because then your head's not as fried and you're not as done out from the test the day before the recce starts. But no, I think it's one of those events where you really need everything to be in the right window and the right rhythm. And yeah, you can see on the power stage we were 3rd fastest and got 3 extra championship points just because the car seemed to be in a nice window there. I enjoyed the stage and everything just clicked. So we know the pace is there when everything's in the right window. It's just sometimes, you can be a little bit lost, and it's just trying to find that rhythm again. But the bumpy, more fast roads like Cardigan, Croatia and Barham, I think our pace will be much more consistent. So yeah, we'll look forward to those ones and try to get hopefully another podium.
And John, Rome was one of those events where a lot of the local experts who aren't your ERC regulars were taking part. Do you kind of do you focus at all on them, or do you just put them out of your mind and you're just really looking and benchmarking yourself off against your ERC regulars?
It's a bit of both. Yeah, you need to keep your ERC regulars in mind. But I think, to be honest, Marchek done a fantastic rally and was leading for a bit and ended up finishing really high up the leaderboard. So yeah, he managed to do what we all want to do, which is race the locals. So from the start of the rally, that kind of went out the window, where your pace has to be up with the locals. Okay, there's more locals there than there is maybe some other rallies that are very fast. So it meant that we finished outside the top 10 just because of being, I don't know what it was. It was like half a second a kilometer slower than the fastest. But yeah, you're just losing 2 or 3 seconds a stage to some of the other guys. So, but no, it's a big challenge. It'll be the same in Czech Republic, in Barham, and there'll be a lot of fast local drivers. And then when we go to Ceredigion, hopefully that's where we become the more local drivers. And then Croatia, who knows? I don't think it will be as hotly contested from local point of view, but yeah, it'll probably be just more of the ERC regulars. But it makes the championship interesting, and it means you're more looking for consistency rather than trying to, win every rally. So yeah, it's always a bit tricky, but you just get on with it.
And Hollie, from your point of view now, you're in the second year now of your apprenticeship, and your voice has become very familiar now on not just BRC rounds but ERC rounds. I think you just seem to be really loving the whole getting involved and getting in there and getting stuck in with the interviews.
Yeah, it's been great so far. I feel like ERC was really the first bit of motorsport that I got really involved in 2 years ago when I started going around with Max. And from the start, I remember it was Peter Mackay said about how great the ERC family is and how welcoming everyone is, how much the drivers are so competitive, but they're also supportive of one another, supportive of the media. And I've really sort of experienced that over the last couple of years, and it is really nice to sort of go to as many of those rounds as I can. I've done 2 rounds of the ERC so far this year with the promoter, and I will be doing Croatia as well. Ceredigion I will be at, but with the BRC rather than the ERC, and the others I'm just trying to get to stay in the mix. I feel as though you take information in a lot easier when you're actually on the ground, and being there in one capacity or another not only helps me from a work point of view, but it's also great fun. So I will be at as many rallies as I can, and yeah, as you say, doing the full British Championship season as well with the ITV crew, and then little sporadic rallies, little standalone events here and there as well. So yeah, it's been busy. I feel as though last year everything sort of happened just one event after the other, and I was really just taking it as it comes, trying to just see what would become of McRae Media and see if I could make it a full-time thing. This year, coming into it with that being the goal, I think I put a bit more pressure on myself, and when you look at your calendar and there isn't an event scheduled in for 2 or 3 weeks, the panic starts to set in a little bit. But I'm like, hey, I managed it last year and I didn't really have a clue what was coming. So this year to have a rough calendar looking forward is already a step ahead, and we just need to make the most of it, have fun, and hope that it all goes in the right direction.
Yeah, because it is, because of the rally world the way it is, the calendar is set at the start of the year, but a lot of things don't actually start happening until maybe 5-6 weeks, maybe even a month beforehand, and then suddenly it's bang bang bang, and you think, and then suddenly your calendar's full. It comes out of nowhere. Absolutely.
It's my uncle Alistair that always used to say, like, rallying is a lot of hurry up and wait. And that would normally come when we were sitting around a service park and he's just twiddling his thumbs waiting on Max to finish a stage or whatever. But I've noticed that can apply to so many other situations as well, particularly with the calendar as well. Last year, one of my highlights of the year was working at Rally Barbados, and when I went in 2024, that was my first experience of that event, of rallying in that region, and that never actually got confirmed until I think it was about 2 weeks before the event took place. So this year we were sort of talking about it from, I mean, even like November the year before, sort of trying to like put groundwork down for making it work this time around. And I was getting a bit twitchy when it got to like February time and nothing was actually set in stone yet. And I was like, wait a minute, I hadn't even had my flight book for this before like May last year. Like, slow down, it's okay, it's all going to get sorted out. And yeah, I think you just need to sort of remind yourself that in a lot of cases, the media is also the last thing to be organised at a lot of these events. So don't sort of write it off until it has actually happened.
Yeah, as much as we think we should be priority, we're way down the list. But do you enjoy that whole seat of the pants experience, almost making it up as you go?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I like to think that I am a very like adaptable person. I can think on my feet quite quickly. I love when opportunities just come out the blue and you just need to make the most of it. I am also a pretty organised person and I like to have a plan. So managing those two sides of my personality can be quite a challenge, but I've also realised that does reflect what happens in motorsport a lot. Like, you have the real organisation and wanting things to go to plan as much as possible, but you also need to be able to adapt to when things change. So I like to think I'm a good fit in that sense.
Yeah, because you could have the perfect interview lined up in your head and the car pulls up at the end of the stage and it just goes completely out the window.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connor, you want to jump on this?
Yeah, and again, Hollie, you were saying about juggling. Like, you've been doing an awful lot between working on the museum as a tribute to your father. You've also got the podcast going on, as well as BRC, ERC, and then doing some social media work for for some other crews as well. Like, it is a lot to kind of juggle.
Yeah, I'm a busy gal and I like to be busy, so I'm quite happy with that. I feel like I am quite a critic of myself in terms of not thinking that I'm doing enough or putting out enough or achieving enough, and I need to sort of check myself every now and then and be like, do you know what? No, you're doing so much and enjoying it and making other people happy in the process, and that's the priority. And I feel as though it takes, like, whether it's friends of mine within the sport or people that really don't know much about rallying and motorsport at all, that every so often they'll be like, how do you do that? You're always moving, you're always doing things, you're always putting out content, traveling, and you do just need that reminder every now and then that, like, I am actually doing a good job, I'm enjoying myself, and I'm really making the most of the opportunities that are in front of me. So long may it continue.
Yeah, and there's nothing better, the way you present there in ITV, and that you're appealing to the masses. You're not appealing to the bobblehead rally fan. You have to do that interview or do that talking to the camera with that in mind, that you're not talking to the converted. You have to put it across in such a way that you're explaining it to somebody that just randomly lands on that, and that's a whole different night, isn't it?
I was talking about that. I can't even remember who it was, but it was someone at Goodwood weekend just gone, about my sort of style and how I'm putting across motorsport and my experience of it. And I was like, it's all just natural, because to be honest, although I've grown up in a motorsport family and my surname is synonymous with the sport, I myself haven't really been involved other than the last couple of years. So for me, coming into the sport in like 2023, I was really coming in as a bit of a beginner. Obviously, I had like the kitchen table chat and a bit of background knowledge and whatnot, but I am discovering rallies as I go, and that's what I think really pulls in a lot of people, whether it is on the television programs, on social media, is I'm sharing like the raw excitement of what it actually is like to be a fan, to be a spectator, to be on an event, and people can discover it with me, which is really special, because that's then something that is unique to me. Like, it's my point of view, it's my experience, so no one's going to come along and share that better than I can, which is quite an encouraging thought.
That's for sure. Because Jon, we have such a great sport, and I think we tend to forget that because we've been involved forever. But like, you know, I'm sure you've had somebody like strapped in beside you in their car, doesn't know anything about it, and you take them up, you know, a road 2 miles, and they're absolutely buzzing. They just can't believe this experience, and like it must be such a thrill to experience that for the first time.
Yeah, 100%. It can be a little bit tricky, as Hollie said. You're not always coming across people who have been in the sport for a long time, and especially when it's their first experience, maybe going for some of the passenger rides in ERC. And your job then as a rally driver is also to promote the sport for what it is. And you can't talk too technically. You have to make it appeal to a new person, a beginner, and give them the full rundown of what everything is, like what's the start procedure, what we do between the stages. So I really enjoy those sorts of passenger runs that we do in the RC. I know Hollie went on one last year as well, and it does give you a good perspective of what the pace is like, what these cars are capable of, but also what the drivers and co-drivers do, and how demanding it is on them. So yeah, it's I think it's important that rallying, we share as much of it as possible, the behind the scenes, what the drivers, how they prepare for the events. I know Hollie does a lot of stuff with like the people that she meets along a rally, like marshals, spectators, how the events are put together. So rallying is such a fantastic sport. It brings so many people together, and as we know, it's important that we try to share that with everyone, so that it doesn't just become a niche sport that we enjoy. It's something that everyone should enjoy, because it's the best motorsport out there. There was a time where this was bigger than F1, and okay, there's no reason why we can't get back there. I think there's lots of ways that we can improve, and we know that the very top level of the sport is trying to figure out that as well, and it's not easy, but I think with a bit of forward thinking, it's possible.
Yeah, because Hollie, like, we see it like you know, at ceremonial starts at events, you know, and whenever the thing's right, promote it. People are curious. They'll come and see what's going on. They want to look. So if you can bring the sport to them, show them. Like we seen in Ceredigion last year, the town stage. The crowds, it was phenomenal. Like, you know, I'm biased, I'm going to say Donegal there on the Thursday night, the ceremonial start. The crowds that go to that. We have a great sport, and it's just a matter of promoting it in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can take rallying to fans, or not even to fans, just to general people on the street far easier than you can do with a lot of sport. And as you say, like in Letterkenny on the Thursday night before Donegal, there was like people of all ages that were out there lining the street. Lots of people, like multi-generations all together, just enjoying the atmosphere of it. And you think how many of those people might have just been passing by, stopped for a look, and then might actually go out to watch a stage over the weekend. It is a really great thing, because that's what rallying's all about. Like, it's a very sort of grassroots sport. You don't meet many people in the sport in whatever capacity that don't have a relative, a dad, a granny that got into the sport, and that's why they're there. So I think it's been able to sort of pass that down to other generations. And I've had the discussion quite often related to women in motorsport about a lot of women that you meet in rallying, whether it's spectators, people in servicing, people that actually do the rallying themselves, are in that position because they did have fathers, mothers, grandfathers that were involved in the sport. And what's important now is trying to get people involved that don't have that family connection, because I think every woman that I meet in the sport is in it because of a relative before them that was involved. And I think that's what social media can be really good at now, is showing that you can get involved in rallying even if you don't have the family connection, similar to kids at school that might want to be a nurse or an artist or, I don't know, an accountant, but their parents didn't take on that role. That's achievable to them. So it's then, how do you make that possible for rallying as well?
Yeah, because like rallying is something, like, it doesn't matter whether you're male, female, or whatever. There is there's no barriers really. You know, like you can get involved, you can do anything, you can drive, co-drive, get involved in the organisation or do media. Like there's no limits.
Yeah, and I think you see that like just the variety of ways that you can get involved in the sport is so obvious when you go to any sort of rally, and then you see what it can lead to when you go to events like Goodwood and there's like little kids that are walking around with stars in their eyes just totally mesmerized by what they're seeing. And it's like people are so enthused by motorsport, so it's now just sort of turning that into something that is, I suppose, profitable, so that we can get the big people up the top to pay for it so that we can enjoy it.
Absolutely. And Jon, Goodwood was probably one of those events where people were getting exposed to the sport that maybe hadn't seen it before. Like, from your perspective, what was it like to be there representing rallying?
Yeah, it was such a fantastic opportunity to go there, and I was there last year, but only for like half a day to have a bit of a look around. But this was the first time that I've been able to go and spend the full weekend. And to be honest, I only really had a look around the whole bottom part of the paddock on the Sunday, and then the rest of the time I was just up in the rally stage, and it was nice to see so many people up there enjoying what rally has to offer, and good to see how much the WRC are supporting it, and also to see Josh from the MI Rally Academy to be driving a Rally 1 car, and to have Toyota, Ford, Hyundai all there was fantastic. So yeah, fair play to the promoter for supporting that, and even to have the likes of Travis Pastrana, who is such a big hero. Like whenever I was growing up, he was always like the next evil Knievel. So to see him there, and what he does to interact with his fans and the sport, I think everyone enjoyed that so much. So yeah, it's not rally as such. Like we know as rally drivers and people involved in the sport, it's not quite the same as going to actually compete in a rally. But the people who are at Goodwood, a lot of them are there for the supercars, the F1 cars, but they're like, oh yeah, we'll go and take a look at the rally stage, and it gives them a chance to fall in love with a different discipline of motorsport. And then all of the historic cars going up the hill as well, from rally was really good, and gives a chance for people to fall in love with those cars. And yeah, it was fantastic that I got the chance to drive Bath up the hill, and
Yes.
that was a bit nerve-wracking, because whenever we were all going to Goodwood, yeah, Hollie's mum said that I could have a go in the car, and initially I was like, I don't know, I don't want to have that pressure and something like go wrong. But then she was like, no, it's okay, it's just a slow run. Turns out it wasn't such a slow run.
It's just a parade. It's just a parade.
Just a parade, yeah.
And he must have got lost because he went round a couple of times as well.
But then whenever we were able to have Hollie come along in the passenger seat, then it was something we could share together as a special moment. Obviously it's a car with a big history for everyone involved in the sport, and whenever I was growing up, that was the car, and obviously for Hollie, it's a car that has a very important aspect of her life and her dad's career. So yeah, for me to get the chance to drive it with Hollie was amazing, and yeah, we just had a big smile on our face the whole way up the hill. But I was still sweating.
Yeah, I have to say, I watched it live on the, what do you call it, on YouTube, and just the expressions on both your faces, it was gorgeous, genuinely. Just the raw excitement in both of you.
No, it was really cool, and that was the first time that we've actually been in a rally car together as well. So for it to be in my dad's car was just really special. Like, we've spoken about it a couple of times about if I were to come to a test and get in a car with Jon, he was like, "Oh no, I'd be so nervous if you were next to me." And then all of a sudden, it was in my dad's car up the Goodwood Hill in front of thousands, streamed to even more. I was like, all of a sudden, it's just got more and more nerve wracking.
Yeah. I don't know how many thousands of people were there in person, but I was like watching the stream before I went up, and it was like 23,000 people are watching this, and then I'm stalled off the start line.
And Jon, from just a pure technology point of view, like, you know, you've been obviously driving very, very modern machinery. What was it like jumping back into, you know, the bat?
I've never actually experienced a Group A car before, so I always heard people saying that they're, you know, very mechanical in terms of the differentials and the gearbox, and yeah, it was really like a tight feeling to the whole car. Like you feel like you've got so much grip, and they had active diffs as well. So yeah, it just felt so different. But also then, whenever I went in and done the donuts, it was just like, yeah, this is what this car is made for. Is just be aggressive, really take it by the scruff of the neck, and yeah, we've got a cool little clip. Just the noise of going into the first gear, the clunk, and the way it just shudders the whole car. Oh, they're so special, and that's the great thing with them being able to share those cars with people at events like Goodwood, and all the owners of those cars that let them be used. It's so important because yeah, they're fantastic cars. They've got great histories. A lot of them could be just shut behind closed doors and sheds, but yeah, fair play to everyone that takes them out, and especially Alison.
I'm a feeling the fields around our house might be getting abused. Jon literally said yesterday, he was like, "Now I know how you like need to drive that car. I want to have another go. I want to have another go."
Jon, could you have ever imagined a couple of years ago when you were driving that car in dirt or in EAWRC that you'd actually ever be in the original?
Yeah.
No, never at all. Okay, it's it's in more recent months became not even something I dreamed of, but like obviously I seen the car at Hollie's house and stuff, and but before that, would have never imagined. So, but I think yeah, it just shows how the rally community is so, like, we're all so tight together, and yeah, to be allowed that opportunity was just amazing. So yeah,
Alistair didn't make it easy for you though.
No, Alistair was trying to kick me out. He thought he was doing that.
Sticking his head in. What was it he said to you before we went up the hill?
He was like, "Do you realise what this car achieved with your dad?"
I just like filming little bits and bobs and just hearing him over the rattling of the car, and I was like, "Wait, give him some encouragement."
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, he's just winding me up, but it was funny. But no, yeah, just amazing, so crazy.
But Hollie, for you, like, and for the whole McRae family, like, to be honoured in such a way there as you were at the weekend, that has to be like real, like, hair standing in your arm kid material.
Yeah, I think it's something that I'm still struggling to find the words for it, to be honest. Like, this was only my second Goodwood experience. I was there in 2023 and had such a fantastic time there. Obviously, you hear so much about Goodwood and it's just got such a legacy of its own. So to be invited there as a full family for this year, it was the first time that the entire McRae family was there together. So that from a start was great fun. We had a house outside of Chichester that we were all staying in, which was just lovely to like spend just quality family time at the very least, and then to be able to spend it together at Goodwood in that sort of environment, to bring Jon along and to have him experience some of like my dad's cars and what they could do was great. And then yeah, Sunday was definitely the cherry on top of it all. Like, I was under the impression when I went there that Thursday was going to be my busiest day, and then every day would just get like more and more chilled out, and I'd be doing less and less and just wander around the festival and whatnot. But Sunday ended up just being the maddest day. We had the run up the hill, and then I got straight out of BAT and into the new American Rally Association, like Subaru with Travis, and I was like, this is such a crazy day. Like, if anyone else could have the opportunity to do this in a matter of hours, it would be like the best day on earth. And I was like, this is mad that this has just all come together in the last like couple of hours. Like, we didn't realize I would get to sit in the car with you until like that morning. And then the Travis thing was up in the air as to whether it was going to happen or not. And then all of a sudden it was like, yes, helmet go now. And I was like, oh! So no, it was great. I feel like I'm still taking it in now. But yeah, such a special weekend.
Yeah, and like, as Jon said there earlier, like Pastrana was the guy, he was the next Evil Knievel. And then for you to be standing in front of him and saying, your dad was my guy, you know, he was the guy that inspired me. That must be, like, I don't know, is it a weird sensation hearing that coming from somebody as highly respected as him?
Yeah, it's funny, like, I'd heard stories, obviously, growing up of my dad and Travis and what they got up to together. I think the last time that I would have met Travis, I was about 4 years old. So to go from that to then you just see him on Instagram, on YouTube doing some crazy stuff, to then meeting him on Thursday, it was really cool. And we sort of had a bit of a chat then. My mum came over. She had her sunnies on. It was funny. He came over and said hi to me because Rhiannon recognised me because we'd done a bit of work together in America 2 years ago. So she came over to say hi, sort of was like, Travis, this is Hollie, chat. My mum was sat there with sunnies on. She was like, you won't recognise me, Travis. So the introduction, and then they had a nice little catch up there, and then bumped into them on Friday at the dinner, and then it's Saturday in the ball, and it was just really cool to sort of spend a little bit more time with one another each day. I overheard him on the stage saying that a passenger ride that he got with my Gramps in Dad's car was one of his absolute motorsport highlights. And then the following day I was in his passenger seat. It was just really special.
Yeah. And you mentioned your Gramps there, Jimmy, him and your granny was down as well, and they got to experience this. The love that is for the whole McRae family, and for somewhere as special as Goodwood, that must have been such a pleasure for them that weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole team at Goodwood made us very certain of how much they wanted us to be there and how much they wanted us to be involved, which feels lovely. And yeah, just to spend time as a family and for Gramps to be out, and obviously they had the whole collection of 6R4s there this year, so he was like a kid in a candy shop around that part of the rally stage.
Just leave me here, yeah.
And the rally stage itself was just heaving the whole weekend. Like, obviously I said I was only there 2023 in previous years, but even compared to that, there were so many more people up at the rally stage this year. The Goodwood regulars have all said that this year was the most popular year up at the rally stage, and the little tractor shuttles up and down were always full. There was always people walking up as well from the bottom paddock up to the top. So it's really encouraging to see the draw that the rally stage is creating, and hopefully that only continues up the way and we can have even more crazy experiences up there in years to come.
Sure, for sure.
Hollie, what's it been like, for you to be immersed now in the rally world, really immersed, be involved, to meet so many people that would have stories about your father that you probably would never have got to hear? What is that like for you?
It's great. I really, really love it. I think at first maybe that's what kept me going to events in the first couple of months, and when I was out with Max, and you'd meet people, and every rally I went to I heard a new story that I hadn't heard before, and that felt really nice because I was like, I'm doing a little bit of discovering of my own here, and that really hasn't died off at all. And just being able to get involved in a sport that means so much to my family, but in a way that fits me and my personality and my goals and what I want to do is very special. Like I said on the stage when we were interviewed at Goodwood, I was under no illusions that I was ever going to be the next World Rally Champion, and because of that I didn't quite know how else to fit into the sport. I feel like it felt a bit daunting and there was some really big shoes to fill, so I sort of maybe steered away from it from longer than I should have. But through the media side of things, I've been able to find my own way back to the sport, and I can now experience things that I probably would have done earlier had my dad still been here, but I can now experience them in a way that suits me far better. So it feels like it's mine more than sort of piggybacking on someone else's experience.
You're making this your own journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, this love of the whole McRae thing is going to continue into September, the 30th anniversary of your dad's won the World Championship, a very special weekend in Knockhill.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. I've been involved in the planning of this one far more than I have been in the past. So this will be the third McRae Rally Challenge. The first one, I hardly even remember it. I feel like it went by in such a blur. And it was one of the first events that I was at that we were surrounded by so many of my dad's cars and fans, and it was quite overwhelming. The second one, I was there for one day and then ran off to graduate. And this one I've been involved from the planning from the very start with the guys at Knockhill, and I'm also now down on the entry list as co-driver for my Gramps. We're really going in head first this year, but it should be good fun.
Because we've seen you've even got your license now for driving. We've seen your wee episodes with Matt Edwards.
Yeah.
And what is it like getting behind the wheel? Is that something you want to pursue, or you're happy with a microphone in your hand?
The thought is still terrifying, but I have the license for the year, so I need to use it. And I think for so long I was just worried about being like the shit McRae. Like the idea of spectators watching a car go past at 20 mile an hour with McRae on the side is it's very uncomfortable. But the more that I sort of mull it over and go to events, I'm like, do you know what? You don't improve if you don't give it a go.
Yeah.
And anyone that expects me to get into a rally car and be magnificent is ridiculous, quite frankly, because I've literally driven one driving day and then the experience of getting my bars tested, and that is it. So I am like a complete beginner. So maybe the co-driving with Jimmy will sort of ease me into it a bit, get me sort of experiencing the competitor's side a little bit more, and then I will need to use the license before the year is out.
Yes, and there's bound to be somebody that'll co-drive for you.
We've been chatting a bit because you've been speaking about a couple of potentials, and I'm like, if I'm free, maybe I'll be
busy that weekend.
John goes, yeah, no, that'd be fine. I would co-drive for you. It should be okay as long as you don't mind being late to a couple time controls. That's not fine.
I'm not the best for those sorts of things, but I can call pace notes, so I can be like left, right.
Or maybe just call Shane.
Yeah, but you've got a good workaround now is to use a fake name, isn't it?
This was another Goodwood discussion on the stage, was trying to come up with my alter ego that might make it a little bit easier than rallying under Hollie McRae. But
you just need a stag helmet then, just like no one knows who you are.
Just to remove the helmet
until you get your first couple of events, and then you'll be on the pace.
A big unveiling then.
We'll see how it works out. But
and then John, for yourself then, it's rounding off the ERC, 3 more events to go there.
Yeah, 3 more to go, and it's going well with working with Shane this year, and we're putting in more work now than ever. We've got good support from M Sport, from the MI Rally Academy. They've actually just done a bit of work with one of the teams that works. Well, they're not teams, but they're like a company that works within the ERC. They're called Fit for Race. So I'm doing a bit of work with them on some of the different training styles that they have, and benchmarking against other F1 drivers and racing drivers to see where like my fitness is, where my mental ability is, and stuff like that. So that's quite interesting, and I think we always discuss it as being like the couple of 1% that you can find to improve, but also it's just a matter of trying to stay calm and believe in yourself, and just focus on the job and stay relaxed. So it's a mixture of improving and then also believing that, you know, it's always been something that, you know, deep down you're able to achieve. It's just then trying to unlock that and really push for it. So yeah, it'd be nice to get a win this year. It's obviously not an easy thing to do in ERC. It's very competitive, but I think every event we're getting one step closer, and I've had a third, a second, so now it's the first place. And okay, we'll give it a good go and see where we end up. But yeah, it's fantastic to be competing in ERC and to be working with everyone and see the progress that we're making. And yeah, we're enjoying it and getting good results. So we'll see where everything leads to then, leading into 26.
Thanks to Jon and Hollie for joining us, and it was fantastic being able to see them going up that Goodwood hill on the TV coverage in the 555 Subaru. Just wow, I could only imagine what it was like for the two of them. And what do you call? We'll be keeping a close eye on Jon now to see can he pull that you know, another podium off and maybe a win. Fingers crossed now for the ERC. And then, what do you call it? With regards to wins, we had William Creighton win at the recent Nicky Grist Stages, and we thought perfect time to catch up with Will.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been an enjoyable season. Obviously, there's been a bit of a gap since the last rally. We didn't compete at the Jim Clerk, and obviously, what happened there was pretty horrible. So, quite glad in the end that we weren't anywhere near it. But yeah, that was sort of the dark side of the sport that we love. I'm very sad with what the whole family have been through there, and I suppose really the only positive to look at it now is how the whole rally community came together after it, and you know, trying to move forward for that is difficult, but you know, that's what everybody would want. That's what I would have wanted everybody to do. So yeah, it's been a bit of a break for us, and then the Grampian is coming up now in a couple of weeks. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think we're maybe joint leaders in the championship with Marion, so it's all very tight. But still a lot of driving to do, so kind of just focusing on that rather than getting caught up in anything to do with the championship just yet.
Yeah, because the transition to the Yaris has been very smooth so far, and like I suppose that is with the help of Melvin Evans Motorsport, who has made that transition easy for you.
Yeah, for sure. Melvin Evans has been looking after us really well this year. We've also been working really hard behind the scenes, you know, trying to prepare at the start. We did a couple of tests and then just trying to work in between events and doing a test before each rally, really. Just trying to build our knowledge of the car and, you know, trying to teach me how to get the most out of it, and obviously just trying different setups so that we know when we get, you know, faced with different scenarios and different events that we can you know, have the car performing at its best. So I still think there's plenty that, you know, I can do better, and also things that we can play with the car to get it suited more just to me. So it's just work in motion, and it's sort of a continuous learning process.
I was just going to say, William, part of that setup, or you know, you're in a team with Marion, and you know, obviously there's a bit of sharing of ideas. But what some people might not be aware of, you're running Michelin's and Marion's running Pirelli, so that must be quite hard. You know, you can't really swap a lot of setup, maybe ideas or suggestions with each other.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose at the end of the day, the four tires are the only thing that makes contact with the road. So if you're on a different, you know, if you're running with a different tire manufacturer, there is a difference there, and you know, there is some things with setup that you have to change. But okay, ultimately, you know, Marion's been very helpful. There's a lot of things that he's learned with the time that he's been driving the car that has fast tracked the process. So it's made, you know, what we've needed to learn a lot easier, and he can share his experiences with us. But yeah, you're right. There is differences, and even in the setup, you know, it's a fine window, and once you get the car into that window, it's nearly, you know, suited to each driver how they want it set up, and you know, it's individual to each driver. So once you get there into that window, again, there's wee things that you can do just to make it more suited to me. You know, my driving style is probably slightly different to Marion's, and different setups will suit different people.
And like, is it like, you know, it's not night and day, the two change, you know, the two setups, but there is just wee individual requirements. Maybe it's more than nothing else.
For sure, there's. I mean, if we compare setups that Marion and I started, you know, for example, at the Nicky Grist Stages, it's really not far away at all. But there's just things that you can change maybe between the first pass and the second pass. Obviously, the first pass, we're running first in the road. Okay, there were about 20 front wheel drive cars in front of us, but you wouldn't know that anybody had been through the stage, to be honest. And then when we get back for the second loop, there's a clean line, much higher grip, a lot of bedrock. So, even changing the setup for those two loops to try and get the most out of the car is really important. And that was one thing that we were focusing on in the Nicky Grist. Just trying to get the most out of that, and also driving on the first loop of stages whenever the road was so loose. What I can do with my driving to be as efficient as possible. It's often that you can slide the car too much and try too much nearly in that scenario. When there's such low grip, you're wasting time. So just trying to be as neat as possible, which sometimes feels like you're going so slow, but I think it is quicker, or I hope it is quicker at the end of the stage anyway. So yeah, whilst there's quite a lot of similarities, those small little differences at the end is what makes the difference, I suppose.
The gravel at this stage, you feel you're in a good place then with the gravel set up in the car then, really?
I think so, yeah. Like I said, when we first stepped into the car and the first test, it felt good. It was in that window, and it's just trying to refine that. And it's not all down to the setup of the car. It's trying, me to get the most out of it. And, even whenever the car is how I like it, there's always things that we can do better inside the car from the driving side. So, like I said, it's a continuous learning process, and I think that's just the way you have to treat it. If you don't treat it that way and you think you're there, you're not going to get quicker. And we've got a lot of guys in the BRC this year that are very fast, which is good as well, pushing us to do better. And then also, even looking back at Donegal there on the tarmac side of things, the level of competition there is really good, and it shows where you're at and where you need to improve.
Yeah, cause, I suppose now you touched on Donegal there. Whenever you have an ERC champion, yourself a world champion, an ERC regular and Jon Armstrong, and then plus our own guys here too. If you're going there and you're competitive, it's nice to think you can go anywhere and be competitive.
Definitely, even the pace in the Irish Tarmac Championship without, with the regulars, without those other guys coming in is really strong. And then when you bring it to Donegal, that obviously there's a lot of experience there. The stages are often, it's quite a similar rally year on year, so the pace is always really fast. It was my first experience in a Rally 2 car there, and I think there's a bit of a stigma maybe that if you haven't done these events and you haven't got the experience of doing the stages and the pace notes, that you can't be competitive. And even Jon coming, that's never done the rally, I think we sort of broke that trend. Okay, it's definitely difficult, and there is a bit of an advantage if you have that experience, but it shows that it's not impossible. And the experience that I've gained from doing international competition, same as Jon and Hayden, it stands to you when you come back home to do that type of event. But it was a lot of fun. I know it didn't finish the way that we were hoping for, but it was a lot of fun. And not only that, we got so much experience. Where we started with the car on Friday, they were such tricky stages with a lot of bumps in the road. So we really had to work at it and try and improve. And moving into Saturday, smoother stages, but still quite undulating. We definitely have made a step forward, and that showed in the time. So that was really encouraging.
You have to take a lot of positives away from the rally, because of the competition, the level of competition was there, and you were right in the fight for it. 6 or 7 seconds off Callum whenever you unfortunately slid off the road, but it was a very promising run up to that.
Yeah, Saturday was going really well, and we were just in a nice groove, to be honest. We were finding our feet, I think, and I genuinely think there was more to come as well. So it would have been nice to move into Sunday, and we have a bit more experience in the car and sort of slippy conditions from the first round of the British Championship. So I think that would have stood us. But look, it's it is what it is. It's done now. We gained the experience that we wanted to. I think we did ourselves, a good favour, showing good speed. But ultimately, a very small mistake, and we didn't get into Sunday. And hats off to Callum. He's won that rally 3 years in a row now, and he didn't put a foot wrong all weekend. So congratulations to him and Noel. It was really impressive, and it's I guess nice to see the boys get 3 in a row there. That's pretty special.
Yeah, because like Callum's an old sparring partner of yours from the junior BRC days.
Yeah, the crack was good, to be honest. Whenever we rocked up to sign on for the recce, Callum was, beside us in the queue. So the crack started from there, and it kept going. And I think to have Hayden over for it, and just all the regulars in the Irish Tarmac Championship, the crack's always good. And Donegal, I've never done a rally in Ireland that there's been so many spectators. So it was really special. It was good to be a part of it. You don't get too much time to look, but the fact that you do notice it is saying something. And then obviously all the people in between the stages and the queue of the cars going into Knockalla was serious. So yeah, great thing to be a part of. I'd love to try and get back in the future. That would be cool.
Because like this, we've heard this from like Hayden Padden, Jon Armstrong, yourself now as well. That this the desire to come back again as well too. So like that, obviously, there's still an itch to be scratched there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but I suppose when you come so close to such a well-known event, it'd be nice to have that on your CV. But that might be the closest you ever get. You just never know. Getting to the start of that rally is a huge achievement in its own. It's effectively a WRC rally without all the logistics of a WRC rally. So yeah, just to get to the start line's an achievement, and to get to where we were on Saturday evening, you have to put in a bit of work to get there again.
You haven't had a lot of seat time in the last 8 months or so. Like, was it much of an adjustment to go back to a full-on 3-day event?
I suppose that's where the experience stands to us. It wasn't a problem really. It was just something that we hadn't done this year yet. So it was nice to get back into that. So and it was very warm on Friday, so we had to cope with that as well. But no, it was different. It's not something we've done this year yet, but we've done plenty of that before, so it was no problem from that side of things.
And then to change the mindset then for last weekend, Nicky Grist, I suppose that's a test event really for the next BRC. Was that Nicky Grist epic stages? Again, the really hot conditions. It was more like Portugal or Greece or something.
Yeah, we did the event in 2017 and 2021, I think it was, in the R2 car and then the Rally 4 car. So to come back with number one in the door is pretty cool. We've come a long way. And then obviously to get the win was a bonus. It was really about going to get some seat time ahead of the BRC, which we ticked that box. As you say, classic stages, Route 60, halfway, all stages that everybody knows, and we had perfect conditions. A wee bit less heat would have been a bit a bit better, but yeah, it was warm inside the car, and it was a bit different going back to the rally without doing a recce. With it being a national event, you buy the organisers' pace notes, so that's something that just takes a minute to get used to after not having done it for a long time. So yeah, you just have to have a little bit of caution on the first pass of stages, but it was no problem. It worked well, and it set us up nicely now for the next event.
Yeah, because the level of competition there, it's maybe not quite BRC level, but it's still very strong. So it was better than going somewhere and then testing up down the one piece of road. You were up against strong competition that kind of let you see where your pace is at. Yeah,
we talked about it before the event, and I think what came out of it was to do competitive seat time. It's nothing beats that, so I'm glad we did it. And yeah, I think the competition was definitely strong. Marion there pushed us right to the end, and he had a really good rally. So and there's some other guys there that have probably more experience of those stages that maybe would have stand them. It's hard to know, but I think the level of competition was pretty high on the day, and which is good. That brings everybody on.
Yeah, and it's great to see two of our own, Jason Mitchell and Paddy McRudden, over and had a great run as well too.
Yeah, we were chatting to the boys on the way into one of the stages, and again, a bit like what I was saying with Callum, it was good crack and plenty of slagging. Yeah, they had a really good run. They had really good stage times there in the second loop, which was good to see. And yeah, I think he's maybe sort of slowly getting convinced to come over and do a few across the water. He's starting to sort of get a bit of taste for it.
Excellent, excellent.
And William, with the RS, you've competed now on tarmac and on gravel. Is it equally suited to both, or do you, or even from your own point of view, do you have a preference of which one to compete on with it?
To be honest, after doing Donegal and that sensation of the speed with I suppose that's a thing that's specific to Irish rallying rather than just tarmac rallying. But on a narrow road with bumps, it's hard to get a sensation like that anywhere else. So that was really enjoyable. Ultimately, to be fast, you need to be able to drive on both surfaces. So I don't really have a huge preference either way. I think the car would be suited to like a rough European event, gravel with second pass, deep ruts, and that type of rally because it's got so much suspension travel, even more than the Rally One car. So I think if you got into a second pass of Portugal, that type of thing, or Greece, it would really perform well there. But it seems to be working okay everywhere that we go. So just got to keep sort of building that momentum and keep it going.
And with the three-cylinder engine, was there much of an adjustment to get used to that after, never having experienced that, I suppose that feeling and that noise before?
It's really strange from sitting inside the car. It's like, particularly on the road section, the noise of it. It's really loud and it just vibrates the whole time. And then whenever you get into the stage and you rev the car, it actually sounds similar the whole way through the rev range. So, getting used to when to change gear, that was one thing. I found myself focusing on the rev lights more than I would in any other car, just to make sure that I was changing it the best time. Because if you just base it off solely off the sound of the engine, it just takes you a minute to get used to it. I don't want to be sitting bouncing on the red light and then Melvin comes shouting at me.
And with the data now, there's no hiding place anywhere.
No, you can't say that wasn't me. But yeah, like, I think with time, already I've pretty much got used to it. And yeah, just it definitely is different. But I think the engine was one thing that didn't know whenever the car was brought out, how that was going to work. And I think the engine is nearly one of the strongest part of the car now, which is interesting.
Yeah. And then with the might of Toyota still, they're still developing that car, still working at that car. It's only going to get better and better.
Yeah, I think so. And, they have to do that when you've got all the manufacturers there pushing in that Rally 2 class. It's really fine margins. Everybody talks about it. There's very little between all the cars. And there's maybe, like I said, the travel in the Yaris and maybe suits gravel events. There's other cars that have their strong points as well. So, which is good. It keeps everybody pushing. And from a driver's point of view, it keeps the margins very tight. And where you can find a wee advantage, then that shows. So, yeah, and Toyota are still working to develop. They've got bulletins and updates coming out constantly, which is good to see.
You feel you're in a good place after the test now at the weekend?
Yeah, I do. I think we're going to be faced with a similar situation, running quite far up the road order. That's going to be slippy on the first pass. So, doing 4 stages like that at the weekend, I was able to do some things with my driving to work on that. So definitely can get a bit of confidence from that. And yeah, just having some more seat time in the car will set us up well. So I've no doubt the competition's going to be strong. It'll be a tough event. I see that there's a lot of single usage stages. Maybe 9 locations that you only do one stage twice, for example, I think is what it was, unless they use some sections as part of another stage. But so that'll be a challenge. So but yeah, I'm looking forward to it and feel well prepared. So there's more work now to be done the few weeks running up to it. So yeah, just keep the head down really.
And William, the junior members of the Motorsport Ireland Academy had a really good run out in the ERC there. I don't know if you had much chance to keep an eye on what they've been up to.
Yeah, definitely been keeping an eye on it, and Craig had a very strong result in Rome, so which is really good to see. And like the temperatures there I saw were also really high, so to come away with a strong result there is great. And doing those events will teach the guys so much. So to get the full 2 or 3 days, whatever it was, in the car, and just that experience with working with the teams at that level will really stand to them. So to get a good result, it'll keep them motivated heading into the next junior round. So yeah, it's really good to see, and hopefully we can bring a few results ourselves as well as the other guys.
And I suppose you've been doing a lot of work around the nutrition and the physical training side with the academy as well.
Yeah, I've been working with Dermot Sheridan, who's the fitness coach instructor in the academy, just trying to build kind of programs that are, individual to what a rally driver needs to perform, but also to what I enjoy doing. Because I think if you can build a fitness program around what you like doing, it's easier to go out and do it, and makes it more enjoyable. But obviously it needs to be worthwhile to what we're trying to achieve. So yeah, it's like everything else, it's an ongoing process and something that you just have to keep working at to cope with the 31 degrees in the Nicky Grist Stages.
Thanks very much there to you all, and best of luck now for the rest of the season. Coming up soon then is Imokilly Mini Stages, and we've been a great exponent of the Mini Stages and the great success they've been. And I got a chance to catch up with Tony O'Driscoll, the COC from the event, and the first question I asked him was, you have a strong run in there so far?
Yeah, we've just done a top net there a while ago. We have, 23 Class 14s, which is the hype. Like every guy driving the Class 14 is coming to win the rally,
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a great entry there. I think it's about 122. The entries are open until Friday. But look, it's a pure clubman event. Do you know what I mean? It's also local around Middleton, and it's just pure clubman event,
Yeah, because that's the great thing with the mini stages, because they are restricted to two-wheel drive or like X Group N cars, class 20 now. It gives the clubman a chance that he's not going to be stuck in the reserve. There's an opportunity to get a run.
Oh yeah, I suppose, look, we're into the second half of the year, and normally when it comes into the second half of the year, rallies don't fill anyway. But yeah, it gives, like, everybody likes going to these small events, like, where they're so compact. I mean, you'd get your recce done there in you'd probably get your recce done there 2 runs over the 2 stages and the shakedown. You get it done in a half a day, no problem, with a bit of a tea break in between. Mm-hmm. So it's all just so central, so local. The loop is very compact, and scrutiny, hard firmware service, all within walking distance of Middleton town,
Yeah, and that's a great initiative by the club as well. You've brought everyone into the middle of the town.
Yeah, look, I suppose we're very lucky. We've Market Green Shopping Centre there, who have an overflow car park, and we went there about 5 or 6 years ago. We went there, and they've been very happy as well with the return out of it. A lot of local businesses there, and they get a good return out of it as well,
Yeah, because that's what it's about. Like, there's no point to bring it into the town and the town doesn't see the benefit of it. But from the town can see the benefit of it, for the following year, then they're on board. They want to be involved. They're going to up their game, and it keeps rolling on and benefit to everybody then.
Yeah, sure, that reflects on the sponsors then. All our sponsors now, our title sponsor, CD, Commercial Diesel and Electrical there, they supply all lighting components for all types of vehicles, and heavy and light. And, they've been associate sponsors and program sponsors of us over the years. Now they've come on board, Mm-hmm. And, if you watch our Facebook page there, Imokilly Mini Stages Rally Facebook page, we give a good bit of recognition. All those associates, I think we have 11 associate sponsors now come on board, all local businesses. Mm-hmm. Every one of them local business, and they're just delighted, and they're proud to be associated with the event, So, we do as much as what we possibly can for our sponsors through Facebook, and they deserve everything, because I'd hate to think what we'd have to charge a competitor if we didn't have all these sponsors, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing, because as you say, every associate sponsor, it just brings down the entry fee that wee bit and just makes it that wee bit easier for the competitor. And that's what you're trying to run, a very competitor-friendly event.
That's it, yeah. And I know, look, our entry fee is €750. There's good value there for it because you have the whole weekend. Believe it or not, we've got 6 Welsh crews in, and again, if they really wanted it, they could get off the boat in Rosslea or 2.5 hours up to Middleton and get back on the boat again Sunday evening. Most of them are coming over Friday night, and there's no doubt they'll sample a few Guinnesses. But again, they're looking forward to it. And I suppose they're probably, a lot of those guys are probably going to do Wexford anyway, so it'd be a nice little shakedown for them for Wexford, And
another great initiative is, yes, you have the mini stages on the 2 3 on the Sunday, but Saturday evening you have a shakedown stage as well.
Yes, 4-kilometre shakedown stage. It's literally 2 minutes from the service park, and you just drive out to it, and there's a lot of bumpy stuff at the beginning of it, and then you've got flat out stuff at the end of it. It's just a lovely test for the car, and the driver. Again, if it rains, hopefully it won't, but if it rains again, it will be a very good test for guys setting up and that kind of stuff. And they loop it back around, and they're actually more or less coming to the start of the stage again. And look, if they have a problem, they can go back to service and get it sorted or whatever. But the last number of years, they just came and they done their three runs, one after another. They were quite happy. Back to the hotel, get sorted out, park the car in Park Farm, or go to the ceremonial start, and that's what they do,
Aye, and that's good for competitors to get a chance to give the car a wee bit of a run before the rally starts on Sunday. Good for spectators, good for the sponsors. And it gets the cars in front of people, and then, as you say, there's a ceremonial start later on Saturday evening then as well.
That's it, yeah. So, it just puts everyone in the mood, and normally we get fairly good weather for it. Last year, all right, we got a bit of a washout, but look, the weather can't be good all the time. But no, it's just such a friendly event. It's just so close-knit there. Our neighbouring clubs are, again, as usual, they're always very good to us. We're actually a small club, but our neighbouring clubs there, they row in, help out, and look, it's just lovely, pleasant event. That's what it is,
Yeah, and that extends then right through then the competitors into the marshals. Your stage commanders are all locals or within the neighbouring clubs, and they bring their own teams with them to help out on the event as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, as I said, our shakedown stage commander now, Jar Hayes there from Skibbereen area. Jar is, years and years at it. He's a great team behind him. Mark Phelan then is the other one, and Jar O'Neill, or the local Jar O'Neill. Everyone knows Jar there from doing the fire extinguishers, but he's backing that for this weekend and running the stage right. But again, as I said, all these guys, they have fierce backing. They have fierce backing. They'll certainly make it a good bit easier on Marie Donoghue. Marie's our chief marshal, but yeah, as I said, look, there's four clubs in Cork. There's no reason why we can't operate the whole thing together,
Yeah, and all pulling together. That's the great thing too. We've seen this in rallying so many times. If anybody needs a help, there's nobody left behind. There's many hands coming to help out.
Oh yeah. That's that goes without saying. But we're really looking forward to it now, and see how it goes. And we've crew out there now tonight doing the final PR there and doing a few bits and pieces. Killian was down last week doing the notes, and look, I suppose we're just can't wait to get going, And
then you talked about there's 23 class 14, yes, great to see. That's the cars that the spectators want to see, and that'll be fantastic. But it's the guys that's doing maybe 1 or 2 rallies a year, and I think this is where the mini stages is really working for them, because they have the chance then to, if they do the 3 mini stage events, they can be entered into a draw, and it's a great prizes available there too.
Yeah, it was something there that ourselves and Laois and Limerick got together there, banging our heads to see what we could do, just to put something in there for the competitor, And we came up with the idea with each club put €500 into the kitty, and we said whoever starts the first stage of all 3 events, they'll be in for a draw. And I done a thought in it there a while ago. There's over 20 there's only 20 crews now at the moment. That have done Laois, that are with us now, and hopefully they'll move on into Limerick as well. They launched the other night. Hopefully they'll move on again. We have a lot of the lower classes there, and it'd be great to see these guys there to just make it a bit easier from a few bob in the pocket, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because we know how expensive rallying is, and if you're getting £500 handed or €500 handed back to you, you'd be very happy.
Yeah, I'd say there's going to be something exciting now. It's going to be exciting now because speaking to Aidan Walsh there now, and we'll do the draw. We'll do the draw once Limerick start. We know who's in then. We know who's there, and we'll previously get together then, and we'll do the draw and get it announced before they go home that evening. You know.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Tony, as I say, fingers crossed the weather holds for you, and that everyone works out as according to plan, because these mini stages, it's given the two-wheel drive guys a chance to win the rally outright as well too.
Oh yeah, do you know what I mean? Look, there's a lot of Class 14s. James Stafford has entered there on his diary, and he was, he took the honours in Carrick there 2 weeks ago, and he's in now again. So like that, we have Rob Duggan. Rob is in. Rob won it the last time. John O'Dugan was unlucky in Laois, and now he's back. And of course, Gary Kieran has thrown in an entry with his Class 14 escort. Gary won this event 3 times. So he won. Anyone could win this. It's just, anyone could win it. And then again, you'd have a guy with a good fast Class 13 there could.
Yeah, so spread a surprise or two, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I suppose there's one thing there I just want to mention there. We have a static ceremonial start on Saturday night after the shakedown, and it's basically where there's a park below. We're going to put all the cars in there. We have room for about 24 cars. So look, anyone that wants to bring their car in there, we can only fit 24. The first 24 in there. Once our own club cars are in there, whatever fills it out after that, we'll have a DJ there. A few bits and pieces for kids. We're doing that we're doing it as a charity for the local hospital, the Friends of Middleton Hospital. So, to be fair, there's a lot of crews now have given us merchandise and stuff now that we'll be that those people will be raffling off, So look, it's nice to do something for charity. The charity is for the hospital, as I said. It's right actually outside the door of the area that we're using for the ceremonial start. And to return to Park Fairmead, and from the ceremonial start, we'll get the 20-25 cars down the main street of Middleton, around the back of Middleton, and back up for Park Fairmead, getting ready for the following morning,
Yeah.
So yeah, as I said, we're looking forward to it. And
yeah. And again, that's, bring it in, showing people that maybe wouldn't have any big interest in rallying, come and maybe go down and have a wee look and see what this is, and you never know, we could find the next Craig Breen or whatever, sparked interest there.
Yeah, well, we're very proud of one guy in our club, Owen Tracy. Owen is going to be there. I spoke to Owen there the other day, and he's flying out on the Monday, so he's going to be knocking around there as well. And, like that, we're very proud of Owen, and what he's achieved, Yeah. We look back there over the years, and we said, when Paul retired and when Craig passed away, we said, where are we going to be in the next day? All of a sudden, our own Owen Tracy is in there, It's brilliant, It's absolutely brilliant for our club.
Yeah, I suppose before we go, is we should touch on the academy and what it's done. It shows that our guys, for somebody growing up around Imokilly, local clubman, can be suddenly in the World Championship, and it's the dream's achievable.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that, I suppose everything is achievable if you want to really, really put your heart and soul into it. And to be fair to Owen, he did put his heart and soul into it. Everything kind of actually, when you get the program, there's a nice piece of the program from Night Navs to WRC in only a few years. That's, you couldn't write it.
No, but he's made it reality.
And unfortunately, Josh won't be with him, but he'll be knocking about that himself, and we'll have a good chat with him on the night as well.
Thanks very much there to Tony, and wishing him and all his team the very best of luck in Imokilly next weekend. The Bushwhacker now is coming up in September, always a great event. And the Bushwhacker's 50 this year. So we thought we'd catch up with Gary Milligan. He's going to give us some details of very exciting events coming up around the Bushwhacker. It's going to be called Bushwhacker 50 Years Legends on the Loose.
Yeah, Kevin, this is the 50th anniversary event. The very first Bushwhacker in 1975 was a 2-day event, so we thought we would try and replicate that in 2025. So we have a 2-day event starting on Friday evening. We're running in the forests again in the dark, which we did a few years ago. It proved very popular. I think the crowds out at Loch Braden in between the 2 stages were about 4 deep. So I think rallying in the forest at night is a big draw for spectators. So we aim to repeat what we did a few years ago.
Yeah, there's something very special about the sights and the sounds and the smell of a rally car at night. There's no buzz like it. We were out in Loch Braden up at the top hairpin, and there was people just coming in the lane, pitch black dark, and all you could see was wee lights just coming down the lane. It was a sight to behold.
Yeah, you're right. It's a special atmosphere, and the smell of the mud and the exhaust and the dark and all seems to really sort of attack the senses, for want of a better description.
Yeah, and and as well, it's an awful lot of effort and a lot of work for the club. But whenever you've seen the crowds out there, I would say it would give everybody a great sense of satisfaction of a job well done.
It did, Cam, yeah. I mean, the workload involved in setting up a stage rally nowadays is just crazy. Back in the 80s, 90s, a stage commander went out and set the stage himself that morning. In the hour or two before the rally arriving at first car due. Now you're out for 2-3 weeks beforehand. The setup crews are out putting up chicanes and posts for signage and so on from 3 Saturdays before the event. And the week off the event's just a crazy workload. So those guys are the sort of unsung heroes of the event, working away in the background.
And then never mind, the guys that's done the safety plan and all beforehand. That's 6-9 months previous to the event even running as well.
Yeah, the paperwork associated with events, with risk assessments and all nowadays, it's just a huge workload. For volunteers, really, at the end of it all, isn't it? Too. So, but I suppose we'll not dwell too much on the event because that'll be announced closer to the time. But Friday night stages and then a full rally again Saturday too. So it's going to be pretty epic. Yeah, it is.
But the 50th year, of the Bushwhacker, a rally that has become synonymous with gravel rallying here in Ireland. It's one of, if not the best, one of the best gravel rally events in the country.
Yeah, the Bushwhacker always seem to have that aura about it, Cam. There's guys who do the Bushwhacker who don't do any other events in the year. There's such a atmosphere around the Bushwhacker that they don't want to miss it. The very first event was actually a tarmac event, believe it or not. 1975. The Omagh Motor Club secured a road closing order, so the first event was a 22-stage tarmac event, and only one of those stages was repeated. Can you imagine a local club nowadays trying to run 21 separate stages? Harry Johnson was the driver behind the first event, and I think Harry was involved in the early years of Donegal. He was another instrument, He was also the first COC in the Ulster Rally, which has its 50th anniversary next year. So Harry was a very busy guy, and he attracted Duckham's along as a sponsor. So the first event was unique. 76, the event moved into the forests, and that's where it's been ever since.
It's become the rally that that whole area, Omagh, Castledurg, out round even then into Donaghmana and all that. There's a whole rally community there, and it's their Donegal rally. It's the one that they all want to win. There's probably easily maybe 25-30 crews out around that whole area, and the Bushwhacker is what they've been brought up on. Yeah.
I think it was yourself who remember saying the phrase that the Bushwhacker was the Donegal of gravel. And that's very much the case. It's really popular among the locals, and this last couple of years, the battles between Patrick O'Brien and Catherine McCourt have really highlighted how close the competition is. And if you throw in Jason Mitchell, who's the on-form man in the forest at the minute, this year's battle should be epic. I mean, I think there's something like 3.5 seconds total time difference between Catherine and Patrick over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Last year's event was 0.7 of a second between the two of them. So
I know it's not even there's rallies decided with less time, but this is over 3 years, and as you say, it's 3.4 or 3.2 seconds long. It's a crazy amount of time over 3 years. It's unheard of.
Catherine's actually finished second 4 times. We're hoping he can break that this year, but at the same time, Robbie McGurk has the record for the most successive wins, 5 in a row. So I'm sure Patrick and Stephen will be going for the 5 in a row this year.
And because when you look down the list of previous winners of the event, it is a who's who of rallying. You have Robbie, Ronnie McCartney as many times as he won it, and Robbie, I suppose we should say about Robbie, he has a distinction of winning it from both sides of the car and as a mechanic on cars as well too. So
yeah, Robbie has 8 wins. 8 wins as a driver and 1 win as a co-driver. He was co-driver to Ronnie McCartney. Ronnie won the first event alongside Mike Hart, Porsche Carrera, and Desi McCartney was second in that first event. So Desi and Mike Hart and Derek Smith, who navigated for Ronnie on his early victories, should all be there in the night. So there's a lot of in the early days.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to say, is that there's going to be a very special night in the Silver Birch Hotel, a rally a hotel that's synonymous with the Bushwhacker Rally for many years as well too.
That's true. Pre-COVID, the rally was based in the Birches for a long time. We moved to the Showgrounds Park, and it's been popular the last couple of years, and this year's event's based in the Showgrounds again. But the social event, Kevin, is a week or so before the rally, Thursday, 11th September. In the Birches, as you said. So we're having an old style rally forum type event with panels of drivers, co-drivers, personalities being interviewed, and some video footage and some old photographs and old press clippings that we've gathered up. So it should be a good night for the nostalgic.
Yeah, because the cars, the drivers, and we all love that retro thing, and we love looking back. And that's the one unique thing that the Bushwhacker probably has, is that heritage. It always attracted the star names to come, that they all wanted that crown. Yeah.
Everybody I've talked to encourage them to come to the night's full enthusiasm for it. Yeah. Some of the other multiple winners will have their Hugh O'Brien's won the event 4 times, Kenny McKinstry's won it 4 times, Derek McGarry 4 times. So most of those guys are going to be there on the night, and all of them are great storytellers. So there should be a lot of good yarns to hear.
Because they can all spin a yarn, and even then starting to talk about the cars. We've seen the evolution of the cars throughout the event. It started off in the Porsche, then of course the Escorts had their day then, and then suddenly we're into the Group A cars. Or we think of even Robbie and the Avenger, and then the Group A cars come along, and the Subarus, and then the World cars, and now these latest spec, the Rally 2 R5 Rally 2 cars, and the speeds now in the Forest is unbelievable.
They are indeed. Although one of the conversations that I had early in the organisation of the event was with Hugh O'Brien, and Hugh was telling me that on the 1975 event he averaged 83 mile an hour on one of the stages, and an Escort in 75.
It
was a fast rally even then, Kevin.
Yeah. And for anybody who doesn't know who Q O'Brien is, Q O'Brien, I think it was in the Bertie Fisher said that if he was any man that he would be scared to go up against head to head on a stage, it would be Q O'Brien. Q had a very natural driving talent, hadn't he? He was the flying vet, everybody knowed him as.
He was so spectacular, tail out style, just lovely flowing style. You mentioned some of the cars there through the years, but I suppose favourite of mine would have been the Manta days.
Yeah.
Robbie and Stevie Emerson and the like were out in the Mantas, and there's some great footage of Robbie dancing the Manta through Carrigahoe, where it just flows lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at that era too, home videos was starting to become a thing. You weren't just relying on TV coverage. That people had cameras, and I'm sure there's some lovely footage being turned up now as well too.
Yeah, it's good. Godfrey Crawford was probably one of the pioneers in the rally video world.
Yes.
So we have a lot of footage from Godfrey's early videos.
Excellent.
So it's great to look back on. Yeah. Some of the interviews are as good as the Ajax is actually.
Yes.
So we'll have some of that playing on the night.
Excellent.
We'll have a large collection of photographs from the the early events as well. So
Yeah. Because I'm sure like there's probably some years it's even difficult getting a photo of the winner, never mind some of the other crews taking part.
yeah, there are 48 winners, Kevin. The rally was missing 2 years, foot and mouth year and
Of
COVID.
course. Yes.
So we've 48 winners, and Derek Graham and myself have spent the last 3 or 4 months trying to track down a picture of every winning car.
Yeah.
So just this last week, we think we've got the one missing car that we had,
Brilliant.
which was one of the later years, believe it or not.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully on the night we're going to have pictures of the 48 winning cars.
That's a pretty special collection to have then as well.
Yeah.
And
We're producing a wee souvenir booklet as well with all the winning cars in it, and it's things that we've cadged from some of the older programs that are good entertainment value.
excellent.
But
And
the word wasn't so proper.
and then, if somebody wants to attend that on the night, is there going to be tickets available for that? Or
Yeah, the tickets go on sale a month before the event, so
Right.
the 11th of August, and they're on Rally Score.
Okay.
Tickets are £25. There's a hot meal included at the start of the evening.
Right, yeah.
Your booklet. So when you go on to Rally Score, you'll have to select what meal you want to eat from the menu and so on. But you can book up to 4 people at a time
Brilliant.
on the one Rally Score entry. So
Yes. Mhm.
I imagine that the places will go fairly quickly. So anybody who wants to ensure they're there, get in early.
Yeah, because obviously, when they're gone, they're gone. You can't add an extra room any extra room onto the hotel.
The Silverbirds can cope with sort of 250, 280
Uh-huh.
maximum. So we're looking at numbers in that sort of region.
Yeah, so get in there, get your tickets booked early, you're going to be guaranteed a brilliant night.
I hope it's going to be a brilliant night. I think, having spoken to some of the people that are going to be involved, I think it'll be a great night, especially for us oldies.
Yes, and that's just the warm up. Then the week after that, then you have the 50th anniversary of the rally, and we just know it's already going to be live up to and probably exceed expectations as well.
Yeah. Well, the last panel that's being interviewed is the contenders for the 2025 one. So hopefully we can get a bit of banter and wine going on the night to finish off with a good lead in for the rally itself.
So thanks very much, sir, to Gary and all our guests this week. And that is another episode of Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast. Can you please like, share, rate, subscribe? All those things make a huge difference. Until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
That's the proudest day and the proudest time and the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all we said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.